Ahead and have our vacation. And that night, the trophy wife came into town, and she was able to join me. In fact, she's going to go ahead and join me for the podcast right now. So let me go ahead and make an adjustment here. Okay, here we go. We're going to have to do this a little differently, I think. Let's see here. Okay, let's try it this way. Yeah, this should work. This should work just fine. Joining me now is the very beautiful trophy wife. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm just fine. I'm on vacation.
It's always good to be on vacation.
Mostly, yes.
And in America's finest city.
It is a fine city.
We've been very fortunate in that we've had perfect weather. We stayed the first night, two nights in the Hampton Inn next to the clinging and clanging of the of the railroad cars.
The loudest train crossing and busy. A very busy train crossing.
In San Diego, once upon a time, San Diego was just a sleepy little fishing town. And the train goes right through the middle of the downtown area. And this just isn't the transport train, the coastal trains. These are trains that are Burlington Northern trains hauling trucks and cars and everything else. So the Hampton Inn was loud.
Very loud. It was very loud. And of course we had to sleep with the window open.
Well, yeah, because it's San Diego. The weather's beautiful. You have to sleep with the windows open.
I disagree, but
the weather was perfect. It didn't get cold.
No,
the fresh air.
Loud.
The fresh air was good. And it was fine. It was great. But now we're up here at the DoubleTree, where there's no clinging and clanging because we're probably 6-7 blocks away from the trains instead of right there. But San Diego's changed in the last 2 years. Have you noticed that?
I have. It's actually changed back to when we first started coming here.
Uh-huh. What do you mean changed back?
Well, when we first started coming here, things were a little quieter. The homeless problem was evident, but not pervasive. And now it seems to be just evident again.
Okay. I think it's gotten a little better. And maybe it's just in my head. It's still here. But maybe it's managed differently. There's more security. The hotels have more security. Everything's keyed. No public toilets. So it's kind of, they discourage them more. Because they're discouraged, I think they go someplace else.
Yeah, possibly.
But maybe not? You disagree?
Well, I haven't been everywhere in the city. The small area where we're staying, there does seem to be fewer homeless people laying about. There's homeless people here, everywhere you look, but they keep to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess because of the weather and the tolerance of the laws, I don't know. But
face it, if I were homeless, I'd probably find my way to San Diego. If I was living in the streets, this is where I'd want to do it.
Yeah, I know it's an ignorant thing to say, but I can't afford to live in San Diego all the time. But they do, so.
But define living.
Yeah, they're doing what they want. As the Mad Dog says, people do what they want. And I guess they're doing what they want. But we'll digress. I don't want to talk about that. It's depressing to me. More buildings going up. Every time we come, it seems like they tear down one or two more of the little houses that have been here forever, and they build another high-rise.
I'm not sorry about that, because one day I want to spend more time here. It'll be more affordable. Law of supply and demand will tell you that renting, if there's more units to rent, the cost of each unit should be more affordable.
That's true. But just looking out the window, turn around, you look, and you can see they're building 2 new high-rises, and because you can see the cranes. At 4:30 this morning, I heard the cement trucks already making their deliveries to the construction sites on a Saturday morning. So more and more high-rises going up. And, the more beds, the more rooms, the more occupancy. In theory, the price will go down. And if we ever decide to spend time here, it'll be more affordable. The area where we are, Little Italy, India, Kettner Streets, the parking is gone alongside the restaurants. But what they did is they got rid of the parking where you could normally park parallel to the curb in front of these restaurants. They took that out, expanded like a picnic area, for lack of a better word, into the street. And they did that during COVID-19 so they could, because in California you can only have outdoor dining. But that's caught on, and it's just wonderful outdoor dining.
It's best to eat outdoors here anyway. The weather's so perfect.
It is. And last night it got a little chilly, but we sat by a propane heater, and I thought the weather was fine.
Absolutely.
Could watch the supercars going down the street, as well as the sideshow of people walking down the street.
And their dogs. Don't forget, everybody drags a dog with them.
Everybody has a dog here in San Diego. It seems like you're right. But the pandemic, that was something from the pandemic that I think is just, it's been a positive, and that is the fact that they now have this patio dining.
I agree.
And
I agree. Well, expanded. They all had patio dining.
Yeah, they did.
But it's an expanded sidewalk. They've expanded the sidewalk essentially.
Right.
Into the what used to be a parking lane.
Okay.
On the road.
Yeah, that's
now. It doesn't rain much here, but I was wondering, because that's the gutter. The gutter is now gone. What used to be the gutter of the road.
But if you look at the way they built that,
they put a deck over it.
Correct.
So the drainage is still there. I was a little curious about that.
I think they had to have figured that out. And you know what? When we go out to dinner tonight or lunch this afternoon, let's look, because I'm guessing they've allowed for the gutter underneath there. They had to have, because they had to do it via code, you would think.
And San Diego is a very clean city, so it's not a debris issue.
Right.
The only debris you really have to worry about is, as I said before, everybody brings a dog with them, and so dogs tend to leave a little debris behind when they go somewhere, so you do have to watch for that.
I'm not sure if all that debris that's left behind is from dogs.
I am.
I think it's from the homeless, too.
No. You're wrong.
Okay. The DoubleTree where we stay has been completely remodeled.
It's beautiful. It is. They've updated all the furnishings, the wallpaper, the flooring in the lobby is really attractive.
If you're curious as to where this DoubleTree is, it's in San Diego, in Little Italy, on the corner of Front Street and Cedar. And you can find it very easily. But it's a beautiful view of the bay, of the city. It was dated. The carpet was old. Everything was old.
Yeah.
Clean, but old.
The beds were always comfortable.
They were.
The hotel was always very clean. I never had any complaints about that.
But it was old and dated.
Even the bathrooms have been updated, the fixtures.
In fact, I was talking to the guy downstairs, the guy where I got my coffee just before the podcast. He will also be the bartender tonight, and he told me that the bar is new. In fact, he said, we just got the bar stools in yesterday, so they're brand new. Yesterday was the first day they used the bar stools, so that's all brand new.
One update I'm not crazy about was we always enjoyed a very leisurely breakfast. We'd go down and drink a pot of coffee, and then eventually have a couple of eggs and whatever we have to go with that. And there was staff down there that were really nice, and we would see them year after year, and they would recognize us, and I like that. But that sort of breakfast is no longer available. Yeah,
they don't. In fact, a few times I walked past it this morning, and then breakfast is open from 6:30 to 11. And when we went out to the market, when we went out to breakfast elsewhere, when I went downstairs to get my coffee 2 times, I never saw anybody sitting in there for breakfast.
No.
Nobody. And I think it went from a reasonably priced buffet where many people were Diamond members and got it for free anyway. It went from that to an overpriced limited menu restaurant that was overpriced, and nobody wants that.
So I miss that.
I do too.
But we did find a good breakfast restaurant, so that was good.
We did. Harbor Breakfast. Harbor Breakfast, yeah. It's on the corner of India and Ash. India and Ash? Yes, India and Ash.
It's a typical breakfast restaurant, bustling staff members, but some of the nicest servers. You know, why is it that breakfast servers are always the nicest servers you encounter?
It does seem that way.
The coffee flowed. The staff was interesting and kind and attentive.
What did you have
for
for
breakfast? The food
breakfast?
was great.
What did you have? I forget.
I had, they call it chala. French toast
Uh-huh.
with some eggs. And so it was a Jewish loaf sliced in French toast
Okay.
and lots of coffee.
Probably just freshly baked, I would assume.
It was delicious.
Yeah. I had the huevos rancheros. When you're down here, you eat Mexican, because there's plenty of that.
Or Jewish.
Or Jewish, sure. Lots of. In Little Italy, of course, you eat Mexican and Jewish food. And tonight in Little Italy, we're going to eat Argentinian food.
Well, we've had our share of Italian food, so
We
it
have.
isn't like we're denying ourselves.
Well, the first night here, we ate at Sorrento, which is maybe our favorite place. I don't know.
It's one of
One
of a few.
Maybe the first place we ate and had a good experience here.
It was.
Maybe
It's
that.
a nice place.
It is a nice place.
They even all along before the pandemic, when we visited here, they had the largest outdoor seating. They have like a pergola in the space beside their restaurant that they opened up for patio seating. It's a little bit of a challenge because it's on a slant, so every table in the restaurant wobbles. But if you can overcome that, just don't fill your water glass too full, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think you're right as to why we like Sorrento, because we could always eat outside.
Always.
Yeah, I think you're right. We've been to Mitch's Seafood, which is down on America's Cup Harbor in San Diego Bay. The menu at Mitch's changes all the time because it's whatever they caught that day. And we both had grilled tuna sandwiches. A big slab of tuna in between two pieces of bread and coleslaw. It was wonderful.
And cold beer.
And cold beer, yes, exactly. That made it wonderful as well. I was a little disappointed because normally they have a fish called opa, which is a warm-blooded fish, believe it or not. But they didn't catch any, so they didn't have any. But the tuna was wonderful. It's always good to get fresh seafood out here in San Diego. In-N-Out Burger, we've been there.
Been to In-N-Out.
If you haven't been to In-N-Out, if you don't know what it's all about, it's no sense in me telling you about it. If you've been there, you know what I mean. If not, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
For those in the Midwest, if you want something that is sort of like In-N-Out, I suggest Five Guys. That's the closest burger that I have found to In-N-Out in the St. Louis area.
Is Freddy's or Smash Burger like that?
No. Freddy's is more like Steak and Shake.
Okay.
But Five Guys is more like In-N-Out Burger.
Okay.
If you get they have many more ingredients at Five Guys. In-N-Out Burger has a very limited menu.
Lunch yesterday we had at a restaurant called Nona. And actually, we were going to have just a light lunch. We both ordered chicken salads of different types. But then we got some focaccia bread, which was like a huge pizza.
An untopped pizza with no topping.
Right, exactly. But it was tons of bread, too much. And by the time it was time for dinner, I had a bowl of soup for dinner. That was it. I ate too much bread at lunch. I had a bellyache.
I don't even remember what I had. I don't remember what it was called for dinner.
For dinner? You had some type of a ravioli.
It wasn't a ravioli, though.
Pocket pasta, they called it.
Yeah, they had a name for it.
It had mushrooms and
veal.
And veal inside of it. I had a bite of your sauce, or was it like a pink sauce?
They called it pink sauce.
Like a vodka sauce.
I think we
maybe.
would call it a vodka sauce.
Yeah. It was. I tasted it a little bit. But then this morning we went to Harbor Breakfast. Is that what it's called?
Harbor Breakfast.
Harbor Breakfast. And then we went to the farmer's market. They have a farmer's market right next to the DoubleTree here. And bought a few nice things. I bought some kefir, some yogurt, I guess you'd call it, and some fruit. We'll have that for lunch. Tonight, Puerto La Boca, after Mass. By the way, that's the other thing I think that they've redone here. Is Our Lady of the Rosary, the church that's just a couple blocks away that we go to. Last time we were here, they were in the process of remodeling it, so I'm assuming the remodel is done.
I actually checked the website. They said it is. They're very proud of the interior now.
All right. The other thing that they've changed here, and you haven't seen it yet, but one of the longtime fixtures at the Embarcadero down at San Diego Harbor was Anthony's Fish Market. And they bulldozed that. It was old. Kept the piers, and they've rebuilt a food court in there with a lot of different food. Seafood, Mexican food, bar, coffee, that type of thing. So we'll have to go down there and check that out too, because I always like Anthony's, but again, it was old.